Hi friends, it's David here. Time for a March 2024 update. The last you heard from me would have been December 2023, shortly before I departed on my Christmas holiday to go visit my family in Texas, my wife's family in Dallas area, my brother in Northwest Texas. We had a really good Christmas holiday and the New Year as well. While we were gone, just as we were leaving, the temperatures plummeted here in Point Roberts down to minus 12 centigrade. So we got a call on, I think it was Christmas Day or the day after, potentially Boxing Day, from our house sitter slash dog sitter saying, by the way, a big pipe had burst outside our house, one of our taps. There's water and ice everywhere, but don't worry about it. She got the plumber to come out and take care of it, so that was a relief. So thankfully she was here to take care of that for us. We got back from our holiday, and then it was, of course, work, clean up, that kind of thing, because we had a lot of high wind around here at the same time, so lots of fallen branches and that sort of thing that had come down in the weather. So the week we were at home was basically spent just cleaning up and so on, preparing the house and that kind of thing. At that point we shot off again to Greece. This time we went to Crete for a week-long holiday. Took my aunt and uncle, my wife's aunt and uncle with us to Crete. They had not been on a holiday for a very long time, and the old boy was retiring the following week, so we thought, we'll take him for a holiday and had a nice time. Got a bit of sun there, it was a little bit warmer. Then we headed back to Thessaloniki, and we were there for my wife's uncle's retirement party thing. And then it was home. James got home. I was home for about 2 weeks. Catherine wasn't here because she typically stays on a little bit longer because her work doesn't require her to be back. She can work from anywhere, right? So I came home, and again it was more just a case of fixing and prepping things. It's that time of year when we tend to get some pretty rough weather around here, as I mentioned, so there's lots of things that needed fixing and so on. We had the dog sitter, house sitter, staying with us. When she stays here, we basically let her move in for a month, and she's just downstairs, and that's all her space. So I typically don't really venture down there to go and touch my toy soldiers or anything, because I kind of set aside that space for her. She's our guest. I want her to feel comfortable and make her feel like the space is hers. So I don't really venture down at all to do anything. And then I was off again to Nashville for work, and then directly from there back to Texas again. My mom was landing to visit my brother for about a month, so I had the pleasure to go pick her up from the airport and see her for a few days. Drove her up to my brother's house. He lives about 3 hours from Dallas, so it was nice to spend some time with my mom. I don't get to see her very often. I only get to see her if I pass through the UK, or she typically tries to come over to the States once a year if possible. So last time she came to us, and then this time she went to my brother's. Then directly from Texas I was off to Brazil for a week and a half. I was in Fortaleza, which is a city on the coast, so it was nice to be by the beach in the sunshine. A little bit of summer in the middle of winter for us, right? And then off to Belo Horizonte, which is a city in the inland where one of my best friends, who I've known since primary school, lives. Got to see him and his family. It was just basically a 24-hour visit, but it was totally worth it. And then I flew home from there. Got home, I was home for about 2 weeks, and again, you might say, oh, well, why weren't you painting toy soldiers? Like, no progress. For us now, we're coming out of the winter, it's springtime. We're prepping the garden for growing season. Catherine's been hard at work getting her seedlings prepared and so forth. We needed to make a few changes to the backyard in terms of planting beds and so on. So basically been occupied in the garden prepping that stuff, and then obviously taking the dogs for long walks and so on. So I didn't really have time to paint toy soldiers, just between the many chores that needed doing and being out and about in general. Just didn't allow for it. And then I was home for about 2 weeks, and then it was off to Australia. I went to Sydney for 2 weeks for work again, and yeah, it was nice. The sun was shining. They're coming out of their summer now. It's their autumn, so it's still warm there. Temperatures coming down, but not that much. Very humid compared to here. So enjoyed a little bit of summer when it's cold here. Worked hard, got some really good work done. I had a good time. Managed to make some time to go to the aquarium with some colleagues. We also went to see an Australian Football League game, so Aussie football, which was wild. I lived there for 6 months, but I never went and saw a footy game, and that was just really good. It was really entertaining. Anyway, spent 2 weeks there, and then headed home on Friday, so it's now Sunday. I'm a bit jet lagged. I'm not feeling very well either. I think it's just the general rigmarole of going there and back again, and then I flew in via Hong Kong on my way back, and there were some people on the plane who probably should have been masking up because they just coughed non-stop the entire time. It was pretty horrendous. So anyway, I'm not feeling great. I don't feel ill as such. I just feel a bit under the weather, if you know what I mean, like a bit congested in my chest. So yeah. Anyway, I'll be on the road again this week, so things have been a bit wild. On the hobby side, as I mentioned, not much has gotten done, largely because I've been on the road and I don't typically travel with hobby stuff. But I decided when I went to Australia to change that, so I actually took the little toolbox that you saw in the mystery box video and I emptied it out and I put in some paints and some brushes and some super glue and a few other bits and bobs. And then I had made a purchase, which I don't really do that often these days because I kind of have everything I need, right, for the foreseeable. And but at Christmas time, I decided I want to get some 15mm Republican Romans to act as an opponent to my 15mm Carthaginians that you've seen previously. So I bought some from Old Glory 15s. They took about a month or so to arrive, which wasn't a big deal because I wasn't in a rush to get them. Miniatures came. They look really nice. They're certainly very well cast. So I packed in those packs into my little toolbox and took them with me to Australia. I didn't really get that much time to paint, to be honest. I was with a team, so when I travel on my own, I tend to have a lot more downtime because I'm not trying to amuse people or hang out to be social. I'm just there for work, right? But when you're with a group of people, there's kind of this expectation that you'll spend the evenings together and go and do activities and so on. So with that said, I didn't get too much time to paint, but I nonetheless made the best of it and got a little bit of paint onto some Hastati, so that's some progress for the last month. And then, then I came home, and I've been home for 2 days, and I'll be out again on Monday. So not a lot to report there, but I'll take the toolbox with me now. I think I'll just make it part of my standard pack and just have it with me. If I get time, I get time. If I don't get time, I don't get time. I just have to accept that those are just some of the limitations on what I can and can't do. But yeah, like I said, it's growing season here, so we're super busy with all of that, making sure that we've got that stuff squared away. So yeah, I can't complain too much. So I just wanted to make a few comments on some of the videos I've been watching. Ralph doesn't have comments on his videos, so I can't really reply there, so this is my way of talking to him. Ralph really enjoyed your videos that you've been releasing since Christmas time. It feels like you've really been prolific in your output. I really enjoyed seeing your painting progress. The Crimean stuff is looking really good. I'm not going to lie, you're very much convinced me that the Crimean War is something I need to do. I'll probably do it in 28mm though. Those Great War miniatures look really good. The thing that I think tipped me over the edge was I'd gone on a binge a while back of your Crimean videos, and I thought, well, I really like to do the conflict because it's kind of like a bizarre war. It wasn't popular with politicians, but certainly a war that was very popular in the public's mind and public opinion. And I enjoyed watching the Charge of the Light Brigade film that came out probably in the 70s, I guess. But it has these wonderful little animated pieces at various points that kind of really highlight the sort of jingoistic kind of attitude that the British had at the time towards empire and Britannia being like the defender of the poor Turks and all that kind of thing. So anyway, I really enjoyed the film. It was a fantastic film. It was one of those things that was a real pleasure to find on YouTube, and I think Ralph's videos really acted as an inspiration for that sort of way, that project that's sort of embryonic in my mind right now. Nonetheless, I'm still thinking about it. I keep looking at the North Star website longingly, thinking, well, if I buy this and this and this, and then I'll have this, and then I remind myself, you don't need more toys, you already have them all. But of course I don't have Crimean stuff, so that's not strictly true. So yeah, and one of the things that sort of sparked tangential to this is the fact that Ralph recently talked about how he signed up for YouTube Premium. Now many of you will know that I'm a premium subscriber myself. I've mentioned it in a previous video because I just can't stand advertising. I am so sick and tired of being bombarded day and night with advertising from every flank. So I made the decision a while back to simply get rid of that and signed up for YouTube Premium, which is, I think there's a few other benefits that people don't necessarily talk about much. One of them is you get you get YouTube Music as part of your subscription, which is really great. It's because I travel a lot. It's nice to have music in my pocket wherever I go on my phone, so I can just download stuff and listen to it on the fly, which is great. Again, no adverts or anything like that. So that's one part. The other thing that's really nice about it as well is there are actually films available for watching on YouTube, like full-length films that are sanctioned. They're not They've not been uploaded by some random person who's just bootlegged a VHS copy. They're actually from the YouTube channel, YouTube videos, I think it's called. But whatever, it's official. So that's actually how I watched Charge of the Light Brigade. So I was able to watch that using my subscription. So I can't complain there. And I honestly think it isn't cheap by any stretch. But I don't spend money on any other streaming platforms or anything like that. I don't have Netflix. I don't have any of that stuff. I don't really watch TV as such. YouTube is basically the only television, if you will, that I watch these days. And then it's wargaming stuff or documentaries or whatever. But it's all very, YouTube centric. I don't even have a TV as such. I mean, the terrestrial TV that I can watch, broadcast TV on. I use my TV as a computer screen basically. So yeah, that's basically the long and short of it. So it's not great that we have to spend money to basically avoid the advertising, but it's becoming worse and worse and worse. And there's a few YouTube channels out there that are more guilty of it than others, that have just laced their programming with advertisements. And I've said it before and I'll say it again just so that it's there for the record, but I don't have any issue with people monetizing their channels. I don't have any issue with people putting adverts on their channels. My only ask is, if you're going to put the adverts in, just make them as unobtrusive as possible. So just stick them at the end or something, or right at the beginning. But there's nothing more frustrating, I think, for people than when you get like halfway through a video, or the worst I've seen is where you have like a 10-minute video that has like 3 or 4 ad breaks in it. It's like, it's taking the piss, really. Like, let's be honest. No one needs that nonsense. So as I mentioned, YouTube is basically my version of TV. And and yesterday I was really, not yesterday, 2 days ago, I was really surprised to see not surprised really, but I was delighted rather to see Ralph's Many Would Be Kings battle report that he did, the valiant French Foreign Legion trying to get back to their fort. And that was really good, well made. I enjoyed the opening piece, the sort of credits section with the overture playing. It was really, really good, really well done, and I was mega impressed by that. Excellent battle report, Ralph. Very engaging. I enjoyed it immensely, so thank you for making that. Other than that, obviously just been catching up on people's channels as they post things. Always a pleasure. There's a channel that I've started watching that I discovered on the Lead Adventure forum a while back called Big Small Worlds, and the chaps did this really good series or playlist called Talia's Troubles, which is a Warhammer Fantasy campaign that he's basically made into like a movie with stills, if you will. Very narrative, well written, I think. Voice acting is fantastic, and it's just shot really well. Actually, I'm quite impressed. For somebody who's doing this as a passion project, it's really way above the normal standard of what we see. So anyway, I would highly recommend you go check it out. It's called Big Small Worlds. If you Google Talia's Troubles, you'll find it. I think we're up to 80 odd episodes right now. They vary in length, but it's very, very good. And it's a Warhammer Fantasy campaign set in Thalia, which is kind of like a proxy of the Italian city-states in the sort of Renaissance period. But it's got all the factions in it, and it's very entertaining, and it's really well written. And the voice acting is great. I mean, I've got to love the voice acting, right? So I'd highly recommend everybody check that out. That's just a little recommendation for the month, if you will. But yeah, other than that, I don't really have that much to report. As I said, I've not been well recently. You can hear from my voice. I'm a bit kind of on the fritz at the moment, just because I think it's a change of weather from like summer to winter, back to summer again, back to winter. So when that happens, your body takes a bit of a hit, right? So I'm just trying to lay low, if you will. So anyway, I'll leave it at that. Keep it short. I don't want to go on too long. Just hope everybody's having a good time out there. Hopefully, I think when I get home from this week's travel, I should be home for about 3 weeks or so, maybe a bit longer. So unless something comes up, right? So hopefully I'll have an opportunity to show you some real hobby progress and do some more videos. I'm also trying to sort of develop my ability to do this sort of video stuff on the road, even if it's just the editing piece. So hopefully my output will get a bit more frequent as things go on. But just been, as I said, trying to mitigate or trying to manage the travel, and everything's been a bit hectic recently. So anyway, I'll leave it at that, and hopefully I'll speak to you soon. And thanks for watching.